Oh, test, test. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that was our second panel discussion looking at what life is like as an insider in the tech industry. If you're just joining us, welcome. Very good to have you here at the Seek Better Career Fair. In fact, to people who are just milling about outside, please feel free to come in because we're going to be exploring a few interesting topics that were kind of already raised in the last panel discussion as well. How can we leverage digital tools in order to become more attractive to employers? So we've already talked about the use of, for instance, ChatGPT. Just to get an indicator, how many of you here have used ChatGPT to tweak your resume or tweak your CV a bit? Has anyone tried it? Yeah, you tried it? How did you find it? Because I used it recently, right? And I thought that the advice, the suggestions it gave were not bad. Like trying to like, I guess, hone the resume to be more industry specific. How did you find it though? You found it useful? Yeah, so like, ChatGPT is obviously a very useful tool, but then obviously there are other things out there. I don't know if you've heard of VMOC. We use VMOC in school, a similar idea there. But I'm getting ahead of myself. I'll leave this, all this advice to the true experts in our third panel discussion for today. So the third panel discussion is about thriving in the digital age, how to make yourself relevant, an important tool I think we can all agree we want to leverage on. So our panelists for this talk are Alan Goh, Assistant Chief Executive Synapse. We have Dr. Jacqueline Lee, Chief Human Resource Officer, Certis Group. And finally, we have Gordon Neo, Consulting Development Analyst, Accenture. And this panel, will be moderated by Juwairi Jafar.
Hello and welcome. I hope you've been enjoying the Seek Better Career Fair. I hope you found it useful, and thank you for joining us for the panel discussion, Thriving in a Digital Age, How to Make Yourself Relevant. My name is Juwairi Jafar. I'm the General Manager for JobStreet Express Singapore, a new platform that we have under Seek Group. I'll be your moderator for this session today. We are fully in the digital age now, where everything changes in a blink of an eye. The COVID-19 pandemic has definitely changed a lot of things for a lot of people as well as companies, where it has accelerated digital developments in breakneck speed. With the digital world moving this fast, how do we keep up? And we are talking about things like artificial intelligence and automation, and how do we keep up? How do we keep up with all the changes that are changing so fast? In this session, our panelists will be helping us understand how to work with these new emerging changes and what digital skills will be required to stay relevant within the market. Joining us for this session to share their thoughts and insights are our panelists. To start off with, I have Alan Goh, Assistant Chief with Synapse. Alan, you want to maybe introduce yourself and what you do in Synapse?
Yeah, hi everyone. So my name is Alan Goh. Maybe I should introduce Synapse first. I think Synapse is not an organization that many people will be familiar with. Essentially, we are the health tech agency in Singapore. We work with the public healthcare hospitals. We support the tech behind it. We build all the tech. Later on, I'll share some more examples. Essentially, we are almost similar to GovTech, except that we focus on healthcare. But in terms of size, we're actually larger than GovTech, so we're about 4,000 strong. So my role within Synapse is to take care of platform services, and in that capacity, I look after a series of different topics: digital, analytics, cloud, the infrastructure, as well as first line of defense security. Yeah. Happy to be here.
Thank you, Alan. Thanks for being with us. Next, we also have Dr. Jacqueline Lee, Chief Human Resource Officer for Certis Group. Jacqueline, if you want to introduce yourself and group.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me loud and clear? How are you today? Excited? I hope you're enjoying yourself at the career fair. So I'm the CHRO for Certis Group. So Certis is actually one of the largest employers in Singapore. We have 18,000 employees in Singapore. So a lot of people thinking, Certis, are you guys just installing CCTV? So it's not true. Actually, we are quite a diversified business. Certis itself has security, we have aviation, we have business process outsourcing, we have human resource services, we have basically ops technology, we also do basically security technology, as well as we have a lot of presence overseas in 3 other countries. So you know what, we have plenty of jobs, any kind of jobs, okay? All of you interested, please go to our booth at the front. So basically myself, I'm an HR practitioner for the last, I will say below 25 years. Otherwise you can guess how old I am. Okay? And I've worked in many industries. Prior to coming to Certis, I was at Singapore University of Technology and Design, and look forward to the dialogue. Thank you.
Thank you, Jacqueline.
Okay, mic test. Hi everyone. Thank you JobStreet for having me. My name is Gordon. I work in Accenture. So for those who don't know Accenture, they are a tech behemoth. They are involved in a lot of government projects and past, present, and future. So I don't have as much experience as our veterans here, but I actually did not plan to work in technology. Around my graduation, Accenture came and knocked on my door. It's like, hey, we really want someone like you. Can you just come over? I was just like, yeah, I mean, it pays the bills. And about a year and a half of a year in, I find myself immersed in what technology could bring. And so yeah, JobStreet asked me to be here, and here I am. So yeah, I look forward to the panel.
Thank you, Gordon, and thank you for the introduction, Jacqueline and Alan as well. So to kick things off, I mean, maybe I'll explore some of the questions we have today that we would like to discuss with you. The first question I have is on keeping up with the digital changes. We've heard that the digital world changes at a breakneck speed. What are these changes, and what have you seen in the last few years? Maybe we can start with Gordon, if you want to share.
Okay, so this is not something that businesses do, but I think this is something that impacts all of us on a daily basis, and it was something that I experienced every day. So nowadays, when you walk into a restaurant, you no longer look at a physical menu, and something I do not like to look at the order of my ramen on my phone screen. So I realized that technology has changed, sometimes very subtly, but day by day, restaurants and F&B businesses are picking it up. And nowadays, we barely order. We order through a kiosk. We order through a QR code menu. And I realized that this was something that was accelerated a lot because of the pandemic. Yeah, so more of a personal angle. This is something that I realized that even just on a daily applicable technology, this is something that has changed.
Definitely, I think it's something that all of us have seen on a personal basis. I don't know whether Alan or Jacqueline has anything to add in terms of changes that you've seen in your organizations as well.
Yeah, maybe I try to add on, maybe put in a context of healthcare and technology. Essentially, Synapse is at the crossroads of these two topics. And I guess in the past 2 years, besides what Gordon has mentioned, I think from a consumer end, I think digital adoption has accelerated quite a bit. But within healthcare itself, we've gone through two big things, right? Maybe from 2 years ago, we were struggling with COVID, etc. Tech was heavily deployed to help solve a lot of problems, and Synapse was behind a lot of things. So some of the most recognizable ones are, for example, when you use Health Hub to look at your vaccination records, etc. That's actually handled by Synapse. When you walked into any vaccination location that you've taken your COVID vaccine, the technology that's powered behind all the vaccination centers was also deployed by Synapse itself. But I think because we are behind the scenes, a lot of times people may not know that we are actually involved. So during COVID, we deployed a lot of tech to go and solve some of these problems. We've seen a change in how healthcare also uses tech. and it's really accelerated a lot of technology adoption like teleconsult, video consult, etc. Then right now, in this current period, closer to this past 1 year, we have been focusing more on pivoting towards supporting healthy SG. So MOH is trying to deploy a large sweeping change to how healthcare is done. Some of the more senior citizens have received the notification to invite them to enroll. We are shifting the focus for healthcare from the acute hospitals, where when you're ill, you go there. We're shifting it to preventive care. So the doctors, in the future, the doctors will be working with you, the GPs itself working with you to try to encourage you to handle your health better from a preventive standpoint. And again, we are behind the technologies that are deployed to support this.
Thank you.
Okay, I think there are a lot of things that happened in the last, I would say 10 years, digital transformation. So I'd like to kind of share that three impact. Of course, with digital transformation, the impact on all of you, individual, right? You can see that the handphone that you carry today, can you all leave your house without a handphone? Cannot, but you can leave your house without your wallet, it's okay, right? So you know how important the mobile is, right? So in today's world, the individual has access to a lot of networks. It's very powerful because all of you are holding a lot of, you have access to a lot of information now with ChatGPT and all that. So the second big transformation is in businesses, right? Before COVID, I believe most of you realized that the meetings were physical, right? After when COVID happened, you realized that, hey, I used to work for a very old-fashioned boss. He refused to have anything digital, you know? So when COVID came, he had no choice but forced to go on Zoom, right? And then he realized that now, hey, actually Zoom is so effective, he's beginning to love Zoom, right? And whereas in the past you can have maybe 5 meetings, now in one day you can have 10 meetings, but that has pros and cons. But with all these changes, right, all of us, each of us, need to transform. So digital transformation impacts all of you. That means all of the skill sets have to change, right? The things that we know last year and the year before is probably going to be obsolete now and in the future. So the biggest thing as an HR practitioner that I see is really digital transformation affects all of us. In fact, more so than anything else, and that's really a constant need to upskill your capabilities. That's why I think all these seminars and what the government is doing is really trying to get all of you all up to speed with digital transformation. Thank you.
Thank you, Jacqueline. Actually, on that note, it's quite interesting as well that you mentioned how much things have changed significantly in the past. Now, having said that, more recently, post-pandemic, we can already see a lot of trends moving moving back to office, for example, in the physical world. So on that note, do you think that the pace has slowed down compared to when we were kind of in a position where we were forced to kind of accept some of these changes? I don't know whether you've seen that in your organization, and Dr. Jacqueline, maybe you can share a little bit whether you believe that moving forward, things will slow down compared to how it has been in the last couple of years.
So you're talking about hybrid working, right? So it's quite interesting, right? I like to share anecdotes. So during the pandemic, my son works for a cybersecurity company, right? They have 2 days work from home. So after the pandemic is over, lo and behold, December, there was an email that was sent out. And guess what? They were summoned now to go back 5 days a week, right? And he works as a technical writer. Does he need to be in the office every day? There's no necessity. But you think there's actually a lot of companies are still very uncomfortable. It's about trust, right? Hey, I need to see my employee there from 9 to 5 and they're not skiving, right? So I think there is a lot of organizations that have pivoted backwards. I know Lazada has, in fact, ordered all their employees to go back to the office. So I think if you ask me, there is a dichotomy here. Like, for example, in Certis, you'd be surprised, right? We have 1 day, not 1 day work from home, but 1 day work in office. So you should come and join us, okay? 4 days work from home, right? And we are very flexible in the way we organize. And I think it's really all about empowerment and trust. And I believe the public sector, same thing. 2 days work from home and 3 days come to the office. So if you ask me, definitely there is a shift, towards hybrid working. But not all organizations are pivoting. There's quite a lot that have gone back to the old ways of working. I honestly feel that as an HR practitioner that life has changed. Our young people, our Gen Z, wants a work-life balance, correct? You don't want to be in the office 5 days a week, right? So that is going to be a game changer if companies are willing to, offer hybrid working. Thank you.
Thank you.
So in Synapse, actually, we see the trend in a different way. So we're actually going the other way. The demand for tech after COVID has taken place is actually at an all-time high. So for us, things are very, very busy. But one of the things we proved during COVID is that hybrid working works because we've got so many critical and important things delivered, and we focus on a trust-based environment. We focus on the outcomes, and we've actually pulled it off. So as an organization, we truly believe in hybrid working. So we're actually shifting to new offices, and even in the existing office, we actually don't size the office to have people come back to office. We are adopting and embracing this hybrid working model for the future as well. Yeah, so much so that we don't actually have stated how many days you have to come in. Yeah, so we leave it to our teams. Some teams don't come in, but some teams, because of the nature of their work, they have to be in certain premises, so they are there. Yeah, and they will obviously come into the office to meet up with colleagues. They will have meetups socially as well. So that's kind of how we operate. And you would think that because of that, nobody comes to the office. But actually, it's not true. The office is actually quite full. But we leave it to everybody to determine whether they need it or not. So you book a meeting room, you go and find your workstation with hot desk, and you come in. Yeah, but I think everyone recognizes when you need to meet, actually, it's quite important to see people face to face, to have a meal together, to bond. But then when you get to work, if you trust each other and you're going to count on each other to get things done, we're happy. It's perfectly fine for you to do it at home or in a cafe somewhere. It's also fine as long as you just take care of protecting the data, etc. Yeah. So for us, we went the other way.
Understand. Gordon?
My test. Okay, so I'm not here to promote my company because my HR is not here. So I don't have a KPI to hit, so I'm just going to say whatever I want, right? So
Go for it.
As a fresh graduate and maybe someone who's just a little bit more senior than me, I'm not that old, I promise. It's just a bad haircut. So one thing that I really want to point out that really struck a very strong resonance with what she said was that increasingly when your bosses ask you to go back to office every day or whatsoever, it is a sign that your bosses might not be ready for change. And with how technology works and howsoever, you need to consider yourself, if I were to join this company, these are some of the things these are not just the rules I have to play, but this is something that when my peers climb up the corporate ladder, this is a culture change I might not be able to accept when I move on. So I think like as a fresh graduate, as someone who's looking to change a job, this is something that you should be looking out for. As someone who enjoys working from home, and I tell you I enjoy working from home. Lunchtime naps, okay guys, I mean for reals. You really need to consider it's not just about the working from home, it is the culture and the mentality that your bosses are bringing to you. Are they moving along the times, or is there something else there's a deeper conversation that needs to happen there? So yeah, just from the perspective of a fresh grad.
Thanks, Gordon. I think what I can hear a common theme is around embracing the change, having the trust, and having the flexibility. And I think that's something that organizations really have to embrace, because that is also where a lot of the workplace and teams would like to see within their personal life.
Yeah, I just want to put in one comment. I think I agree with what Jocelyn said, because in the industry right now, in fact, in the market right now, a lot of companies are actually shifting back to the old go into the office model. So actually, Certis, even Synapse are quite different from the rest. Yeah. So majority are actually shifting back. You hear from your friends, etc. A lot of them are shifting back. Even the banks are shifting back. Yeah.
Understand.
We are not. Accenture is not. So yeah.
So in terms of, I think you've also gone through a little bit of around what you've done to keep up with the changes within the pace of digitalization. Alan, maybe, I don't know if there's anything else you can share in addition to the fact that promoting hybrid work in terms of working with the organization. Any other things or any other initiatives your company has had to keep up with the changes in the digital world, beyond, it doesn't have to be necessarily hybrid work, but any other things that on keeping up with the competition and how everything is getting more digital?
Yeah, I think in order for everyone to work in a digital fashion, the infrastructure also must support it. So we are also changing the way our offices are configured. We have also adopted modern workspace technologies. So a lot of the collaboration tools that people need have also been put in place, and we're expanding that rollout to include not just the tech side, which is my company, but also to include the business side, so that the business and the tech can work together. So we can work with our public healthcare colleagues in the hospitals, in MOH, etc. So the tools part is quite an important element, and that's one area that we're focusing on. And then lastly, of course, is really culture, getting people to collaborate more. So that's another element that we're focusing on.
Yeah, I think I agree with Alan that in order to promote hybrid work, you need to have the digital tools and the infrastructure to support this mode of working. And today, actually, amazingly, there's so many tools out there. Like sometimes I can't even keep up with the tools. And Certis has a power app called Allegro. I was quite amazed when I first joined. In my last organization, it takes four weeks to get a claim processed. Right here, I put a claim through the app, and lo and behold, I was quite stunned to find that I got my money in the bank in 10 minutes. Okay, there's direct API to the bank, and you get your money straight away. So it's about trust, and you say, okay, anything below a certain amount, we do not need to scrutinize, is auto-approved. So what I'm saying is that if you want to move into the hybrid world, in the digital world, there must be trust, you must have the tools to enable efficiency in processes. And of course, also as a business, we are pivoting into technology. Security is no longer about putting 2 or 3 humans there, but how do you use data, how do you use technology to be able to complement the workforce, complement your employee on the ground, so that you improve in efficiency. So I think everything, for hybrid work to be successful, digital transformation is important, as well as the tools that support work efficiency. Thank you.
Thanks, Jacqueline. Thanks everyone for sharing your thoughts on this. I think it's quite interesting that you can get your claims in 10 minutes. I need to speak to my finance team. I mean, I think I get my money in 10 days, which I'm not complaining about. It's also fine, but you're talking about
I don't
not even
spoil the
hours,
market.
minutes.
I hope I don't spoil the market for others.
So moving on to the next question is on AI and automation. Now with the rise of AI, automation, and there's always concerns around, does that make our current jobs obsolete? And that's something that a lot of job seekers are concerned with. But from your point of view, maybe, Gordon, if you want to touch upon this, like whether as a job seeker, would you see the rise of AI, the rise of automation, something that job seekers should be concerned about? Or is there something consideration that they should take into account?
Mic test. So I think I spoke to my manager about this when ChatGPT 4 rolled out just recently. I was like, does that mean I don't have to come in soon? And then he laughed, and then he said, no, because he gave me a very good example which really assured me. He said, 20, 30 years ago, before the internet was a really huge thing, right? Digital marketing was thought to be a farce. It was thought to be something that, nothing happened. But with the rise of computers and phones and all that kind of thing, digital marketing is now pretty much all the way up exponentially, while print media is now in its sunset, right? So however, it's not so much the jobs that are at risk, but however, how do jobs evolve together with technologies? Like, understandably, I do not put in client data into any language model ever, but however, some days when, let's say, I'm at the end of my day, whatever timing that may be, I'm trying to do up a deck for my clients, I realize that this language can use a bit of sprucing up. So that's when these little tools come in and they help. Yeah, so it's not necessarily about how these tools will remove you, but how do you use these tools to be more efficient, to be better at your job. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe you can share your thoughts as well on this.
Sure. Okay, the mic works. So using early on the MC before everyone came in, he was asking the audience about using ChatGPT to write your resume and so on and so forth. So for those of you who have tried, you can understand how powerful a tool like that is. it is really a productivity improvement tool. So from our perspective, at least from Synapse and public healthcare, we are embracing the AI tools. I think the AI tools has the potential to improve the productivity for everybody, and it's actually very, very important that we embrace it and use it correctly. However, I think coming to the question of will AI tools therefore replace humans, it doesn't. Even when you use it to do your resume, you realize that it works, but it isn't there yet. But of course, you will see improvements as we go along, right? Things will improve, but I think the role that we play will change slightly. I think the tools are there to help us be better and faster at it. And we are nowhere near a conversation to say we'll be replacing people right now. So it's quite important as an advice to everybody to embrace it. For those of you who have heard about it but haven't really tried it, go and try it. Go and use it so that you can get a better appreciation. In public healthcare, what we are trying to do now is some of the work that healthcare professionals do are quite tedious and quite painful. So if you think about your last visit to your doctor, actually the doctor has to, besides trying to understand your symptoms, trying to find out why your discomforts are, what your problems are, he actually has to document a lot of things. And actually before he even came into the room, he actually had to read up on what was your conditions before, how many visits have you been here, what medication are you taking, etc. So we're also we're using tools like this to help them expedite that learning process before you come to visit, to help them to summarize things. So we're applying these tools in different areas. In the clinical space, we're also applying it in the administration place as well. So we are embracing the tools itself. So I think AI will bring forth another future that's different, but I don't think we're anywhere near a situation where we have to be concerned that it's displacing jobs. Yeah.
Understood. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Okay, so can you hear me? Testing. So I think if you think about skills, right, that's evolved, as long as skills that are very creative, that involves a lot of human interaction, I don't think the robot can replace it. It's going to be a long way, like what Alan has said. But I think tools today help us become more productive, more efficient. And so as long as we embrace the tools, actually the tools help us to become better in our work so that it frees us from repetitive processes to do more higher value work. So a case in point, robotic process automation, right? If we can use RPA in our daily tasks, things that are repetitive and that can be replaced by bots, right? Then you can be free to think about how to become more strategic, how to do things that can value add to the organization. So do not be afraid of tools because they complement us, right? Case in point, my 89-year-old mom is a frequent user of WhatsApp. She uses WhatsApp to send videos. One Christmas, she even used WhatsApp to do video, live streaming. Quite amazing, right? So you think about how tools have enabled even our older generation. So I do not think that it will be replaced, but as I say, it helps us to become more efficient, more productive, and more effective. Thank you.
Thank you. We speak quite a bit around automation and artificial intelligence, which is something that is not even in the future anymore. It's basically already here. The question is just how best we utilize some of these tools. Now, beyond, I would say, artificial intelligence and automation, including RPA, do you expect any additional emerging digital technologies that will come up that we need to be mindful of? I'm not sure, maybe in your industry that you see new tools coming up in the next 1, 2, 3, 4 years beyond what we are talking about today. I don't know, Dr. Jacqueline, if you have anything that you see in your industry.
I think our industry is still a very labor-intensive industry, but and you know that all over the world and in developing countries, there is labor shortage everywhere. In Singapore, there's labor shortage. So in order to show up to basically really review the labor shortage, you really have to use technology to automate as much tasks as possible. So you reduce human intervention in a very labor-intensive industry. But I think in a article by The Economist, Technology 2050. In fact, healthcare is one of the industries that's going to be really impacted by digital transformation. A lot of things the doctors are doing right now can be actually accompanied by tools like for diagnosis and all that. And in future, there's going to be stem cell regenerative medicine that will impact. And of course, if you think about Internet of Things, right? Today, all of us are walking around with chips. Whether you like it or not, there's sensors everywhere, right? In transportation, in healthcare, that's going to double, triple in numbers. So all around us, trends like this is going to happen. You're going to see more and more the use of technology in our everyday lives. And before I kind of close this segment, can you imagine one day your refrigerator helping you to reorder your vegetables when you run out? You don't even need to go to Red Mart. It runs out and it goes automatically sends and say, hey, running out of vegetables, please deliver by what time? So that day will come. Thank you.
Can I just add?
Thank you,
So
Gordon.
maybe more on a day-to-day use as a consultant. So one of the things that we are seeing is not just in public sector, right, but also in the private sector, our clients are coming to ask us, how can we adopt generative AI? What is generative AI? And recently in-house, it's been quite a buzzword about what generative AI is. And for example, how can we as consultants help our clients create value from using generative AI? How can we empower them to be more technologically scalable, to be more capable when, let's say, the partnership for that project ends? And also another thing that we start to realize as digital consumers ourselves is technology that is more sustainable. Things such as batteries, chips even. How do we sustain chips? How do we build chips in a more sustainable way that they can run longer without having to be obsolete every 2 years? That softwares and everything that are more scalable. So I think if you are someone who wants to work in tech and consumer tech specifically, I think those are some of the areas you can talk about, like specifically maybe in healthcare and also in her industry. Yep.
Maybe I'll just also chip in here. I've been in the IT or technology industry for enough years to know that you can never predict what's coming. Or rather, sometimes what you predict, it never turns out quite the same way. There was a lot of buzzwords along the way that have dropped off and faded off in the horizon. So however, in this case, I think we're not really done yet with some of the buzzwords we're throwing out. So I agree with Gordon. AI and especially generative AI is really catching everyone's attention. I think that's going to consume everybody's time and attention for quite a number of years to come. So I shared earlier about how we are already trying to embrace it in our industries to try to improve productivity. I think the way to use it, etc., and everything, everyone's still learning. So it will take a while for everything to be implemented. We are already using some of the AI technologies to even do X-ray imaging analysis. We do we take a photo of a wound and we can actually classify the wound using AI to be able to help the doctors and nurses and even fungal infections tracking, etc. So we do a lot of this funky stuff. The technology is starting to be adopted, but adoption takes time and the refinement of it will take time. So this next few number of years, I think we'll be doing a lot of that. But I think one thing that won't go away is the focus on how to make it safe for everybody. Patient safety is of highest concern. Then the other factor that's also quite important is cybersecurity. So with all these new AI technologies, the cybersecurity element is also needs to be addressed, right? And it's not so clear now. If you all read deeper into AI, you know that Gen AI, one of the biggest issue is that it's not perfect. It has a problem with hallucination. So if you ask it enough questions, especially for those of you to play around with it, if you ask it enough questions and try to twist the logic around, you can eventually make it say almost anything that it's not supposed to say. So there are some technology limitations around it, and this field will continue to evolve. It'll be quite interesting to watch what happens. Yeah.
Thank you, Alan. We just be mindful of time. In the last 5 minutes, I did want to give opportunity to everyone on the panel to talk about job seekers. And essentially the question is around what do you think job seekers, what are the skills that job seekers should acquire and should be mindful of acquiring? And if there are any advice you can have around how they should go about acquiring these skills. Maybe we can start with Alan.
Yeah, from the tech industry, of course, Synapse hires, is primarily operating in tech, and we hire a lot of tech resources, but we also have positions in other areas, HR, finance, etc. I think the key initial part is really technical skills. If you are in a particular area, then I guess the technical skill sets that we're looking for is application development, agile, Scrum, cloud technologies, security, analytics, AI. All these technical skills are what we're seeking. Of course, besides the technical skills, we also need people who come in with soft skills. So do focus on trying to also develop your soft skills, your ability to communicate, to do presentations, to articulate yourself, and I guess all this you can see on paper. But any personal advice, I think the key thing is to always have a concept that you want to learn, because the technical skills comes and goes, but the learning and the desire to learn, the ability to learn quickly is actually quite evergreen, and it's quite important. It will help you carry through the rest of your career. So that's my advice.
Thank you, Dr. Devin.
So I think, of course, in our organization, there are many different types of jobs. The frontline with frontline employees, and also office jobs, and also technical jobs, jobs in technology. But I think first and foremost, if you ask me for job seekers, it's really having an open mind, a positive attitude, and being willing to learn all the time. Right? I have a word that I would like to advise job seekers is: unlearn all the things you have learned in the past, continue to learn and also relearn, right? It's lifelong learning. So you cannot say that I've come out of school and that's it, because what you learn is obsolete pretty fast, right? So most important is, I think, for those of you, get exposed to things like data science. You don't have to be coding in Python, but at least understand what is data science, what is artificial intelligence. Look at the trends out there, and I find increasingly an important skill is data storytelling. Being able to look at data and use tools like Power BI, Tableau to visualize data, because data is now driving economies, right? And also very important is when we go for a job interview, I think the ability to speak well, the ability to write, the ability to think, and also the ability to have excellent customer service. Right? When you do a job, it's not just about job, but how can I make life better for my customers, for my colleagues around me? So it's a lot of mental resilience, it's a lot of positive attitude, a service attitude, coupled with all the tools that are around us, and then you will stand out amongst the crowd, right? So we have a lot of technology jobs. We're actually ramping our technology jobs in our operations. So those of you who are interested, please visit our booth later. Thank you.
Thank you, Gordon. If you want to add.
Okay, so as a recent fresh grad, I don't know how many times I say this, but like as a recent fresh grad, I think one of the things that I found was very important to me was always staying curious, right? And knowing that when you mess up, it's okay, because everybody makes mistakes. The amount of times I have to rework my PowerPoint to like 1, 2 a.m. in the morning, I mean, y'all get it, right? I think those are learning experiences. Like take them with stride, understand, but also at the same time, don't fault yourself for not having the right skills when you join, because the right companies will always take you. Like you don't have to check all the right boxes, because like when I first graduated from university, I joined my current company, right? My boss was like, what can you do? I was like, oh, I think I can make pretty PowerPoint decks. Then he was like, oh, but we don't use Canva Premium here. So I was like, oh no, then my only skill set from university is gone, I guess. Yeah, so I think go to the right companies, pick companies that are willing to nurture you in the right industry that you are passionate in, be it in IT, be it in security, be it in consulting. Pick the industry. You might not love your job every day, but I think you will like learning new things every day. To me, I think that has been the only thing that every other day I'll go to my boss, what can you teach me today? Sometimes he will just close his meeting room and like pretend like he's not in office, because I'm always asking questions. So to me, I think that is the best thing that I wish someone told me when I was still in university.
I just want to add a point quickly. Recently, my son does technical writing, but what happened was his colleagues doing UI UX left, and another colleague doing something else left. So he actually volunteered to his boss that I would like to take on UI UX, and he just went to take up a course and learn. So it's really about, you can't say it's not my job, right? But if you are willing to volunteer, you make your skills more valuable, right? So I think I really like your mental attitude about, hey, let's continue to refine and do things much better and improve your PowerPoint. And please don't stay up till 3 a.m. in the morning every day.
Let me tell my boss. Yeah, I used to call it the local term is saikang. Every day kena the saikang. But after that, I sort of realized that when I talk to my friends who might be in different industries, I was like, oh, the HR operating model, the Kirkpatrick's model. When we talk about finance, we talk about like taxing evaluation and all that. And I was like, how is it that you know so much? I was just like, oh, I just kepo here and there lah. Like every day you joke a bit, and every day a bit. I was like, oh, okay, yeah. I mean, like, it's kind of fun.
Thank you so much. I think it's also quite interesting the perspective of asking your boss, what can you teach me today? Every day.
Pestering. Borderline pest. Oh, I think they don't want me to say this, but borderline pestering your boss here.
Okay, thank you so much. So that's all the time we have for this session. Thank you, Alan, Jacqueline, and Gordon, for the insightful discussion. It was our pleasure to have you with us. This is the end of the panel discussion, Thriving in a Digital Age, How to Make Yourself Relevant. We hope what was shared today by the panelists has helped you to understand the current digital landscape and how to navigate around it. Thank you for joining us. Do enjoy the rest of the career fair.
Thank you.